Welcome to this episode of the Creative Salon podcast. Today I'm talking to Jeroen Smeets from the Jaunt. Welcome, Jeroen.
Welcome. Thank you. Hi.
So I came across your project on Instagram, actually. I think it's one of the artists I was following was participating in the Jaunt, and I thought it was such an interesting project. So I wanted to invite you on to come and talk about it. So for people that don't know what the Jaunt is, do you want to explain in your words?
Yeah. So the short version of the story is that we're a project that sends artists all over the world to find inspiration. And then the longer version of the story is that the artists, they travel. There's no agenda, no briefing. They go to a place that we pick together. They do whatever they want to do on the trip. They come back home, and then once they come back home, they make an artwork inspired by their newfound inspiration. So the artists, they get inspired by the location. They make an artwork, and we produce a print of the artwork, and then eventually we sell the print. However, we sell the print actually before the trip takes place. So as a buyer, you know which artist is going where. We have no clue what the artwork is going to look like. They'll be surprised until it's produced and until you see them back at home.
So you're pre-selling artworks, unseen, unproduced artworks, which essentially fund the trip for the artist to then go, be inspired, and make the work. Do they normally make that when they come back, did you say? Because I thought they were producing work when they were out there.
That depends on the artist and their own creative process. So we've had artists who are super prolific and they will just keep on drawing and making work while they're there. We've had artists who produce complete exhibitions while they're on their trip. And we have artists who are on their trip just be immersed in their new destination and by the new surroundings and come home. And then maybe 1 or 2 weeks later, they start translating all that newfound inspiration into an artwork. So that completely depends on the artist. And again, it's not something that we put into like a briefing of what should be done. The trip is really on the artist's terms on how they want to approach their own trip and their creative process.
Do they normally travel solo?
Typically, yes. Like we've had a few artists who brought people along with them. One of them was one of the very first trips that we done, number 3, where we had an artist who traveled to Latvia, and the whole idea was for him to go on a road trip and go throughout the country, but he didn't have a driver's license, so he had to bring somebody along with him just to rent the camper and go tour the country. And actually right now we're working on a trip in January 2019, we're going to be sending an artist on a trip where the artist has invited 5 to 6 friends along with him to go on a trip to, it's going to be Barcelona, which is very well known for all of its skateboarding and skateboard spots. So the artist is bringing a couple of friends to make it into a whole skateboard culture art trip, a little video documentary on the trip as well.
And what other documentation do the artists usually make? Do you require them to send back photographs of their time there or anything like that? Or do they just do that for their own personal, say, Instagram feeds?
That is the one brief we do have, is like that the artists, they keep a travel diary while they're on the trip. So we ask them to share what they're seeing, what they're experiencing, how that influences them in whichever way. Some artists choose to do that in writing, others in photos or a combination of both. And we publish that through our travel diary and that we have on the website. And then also, of course, through the social media, not only ours, but also the artists.
So when did you start the project?
The project started in April 2013. But I think sort of like the first seed was planted maybe a year before that, where I started seeing more and more art-related projects within the whole crowdfunding scene. I was working as a journalist at the time and did a lot of interviews with artists and also just talking to friends of mine. Like everybody had such great experiences while being on the trip, becoming inspired, and they all had wishes to go to these wild, amazing trips that they thought they could never afford or could never make happen. So I was just like, well, how can we make this happen? And then just talking through with friends of mine and talking together with other people and artists, I just managed to put that into a project, and the Jaunt was born. Like, we did our first trip, and that was still only to friends and family of myself and the artist, but we sold out in 2 weeks, and we've just been doing it ever since, really.
It's fantastic. I mean, what I really like about it is something we were saying before. It's such a really nice, simple, like art patronage concept in many ways, isn't it? Because, like the creative economy obviously needs, patrons and collectors and things like that. But with your project, it's very much directly funding a trip, for sort of creative exploration. And I think, people can really, there's much more of a story even behind the artwork, because they've been a part of that journey, is essentially funding it and making that happen.
I actually think that the storytelling is the most important part of our project, and it's what makes our project the most valuable as well. It's every artwork that is created has a rich story of experiences that, as a buyer, you helped to create. You were an actual part of making that trip happen, and you have a part in it. Like, you're invested in it, and that story is what sets us apart from a million other art and print projects that are out there right now.
I think that the other thing I really like about your project is the artwork always seems to be, at a very accessible price point for people that just want to support that artist even on a one-off, rather than maybe subscribing for every trip. Mostly they seem to be around $100 or less. Is that right? Or have I just missed some higher price point?
Yeah, no, that's correct. And actually, when we announce the artist and when we open up for orders and pre-orders, like, we sell our prints for 60 euros, which that would be like $70, I guess. Over the years, like, we felt that was a very good price that people are willing to pay for something that they haven't seen yet. And then, for us, that's a really good number. So that's it allows you to just be spontaneous and buy something that you have no clue what it's going to look like. Like, even if you wouldn't like it, you can still gift it to a friend or just keep it for memory's sake or whatever. That's been a really good number for us, and we're going to be doing some new project or some other trips in the future. We've, like, 2 years ago, we started a project called the Jaunt Forma, where we don't work with prints, but with anything else but a print. So there could be a wood sculpture, or we've done original watercolor paintings. We've done all kinds of, mostly sculpture-based projects. They're a little bit more expensive, but still very accessible. We're looking forward to bringing some new items and new sort of results and projects into the mix for 2019.
Have you found with the people buying your artwork, you get a lot of people coming back time after time to see what the next project is with the next artist?
Yeah, I think I consider us to be really incredibly blessed by the crowd that we have and the support that we get. We have a lot of returning customers that love the project, that often come back and support an artist that they've never heard of before. It's a new artist to them. And I feel that typically people who find our project for the first time through an artist that they follow, for example, that participates in our project, they stick around and they keep supporting our project. And I feel very incredibly thankful for that. That all of our buyers and all of our collectors make the project happen. Without them, we wouldn't be able to send anybody on a trip. I mean, we would, but the bill would be for me personally. So.
I think also the artist you have selected, there's a lot of trust in that as well, because, people like me sort of have come to your project being familiar with the work of a particular artist, and then we're sort of brought into, your world. I think, that sort of brings a lot of trust to the project as well, if we're coming across it for the first time.
Like, we've done 50 artists by now, and I still believe that all the artists share sort of a creative energy together, even though their styles are very far apart. And I still think everybody has like this do-it-yourself ethic to their own work, and they're go-getters. And it's also by now, like, once you've worked with a certain set of artists, like, they will tell their friends, and that opens up a whole new set of artists. And so I feel like we can still get further and further with the artists that we can reach, and that can work with us. So yeah, again, very thankful for this whole project, really.
So you said you've been going over 5 years now, and you've scaled it up to 10 projects, 10 trips a year. Do you think you can cope with any more, or are we at capacity now?
I feel 10 is enough. Otherwise, it'll become too much of a machine. 10 will, like, because we could go up to 12 to, like, every month we'll have a trip, but just having the 10 will, like, give me a little bit of flexibility in the timing. And there's just certain months that aren't well for traveling, like summer vacation, like July, August, and January usually. So I feel 10 is a great number for us, and I hope we won't be doing any more, but who knows?
And how about the artists that you work with? So how do you choose them?
I guess one of the main criteria is, do I want a piece of their art up on my wall? They're all artists that I admire, that either have been around for a long time already, and I would just be just emailing them out of the blue and hoping that they would participate and see our project. But there's also artists that I find and think are amazing and deserve a chance to be involved in new projects, and I'd love to invite them. So I think I try to keep, like, a good balance of, like, young upcoming talent and more established artists. And then, well, we have a criteria of, like, we always make a screen print for 8 of the 10 trips a year. 2 of the ones are sculptural trips, but in the screen print, we always have to work with, like, we can't screen print any type of work. So it's usually more graphic based. In the end, we just need to put it into a 3-color screen print. So any oil painting or extensive watercolor painting, working with a lot of gradients and different colors, is just very difficult for us to produce as a screen print.
So do you get to do any travel yourself? Do you go on the trips with them or anything?
I never join on the trips. I feel that I would just be in the way. Like, these are all artists. They know what they're doing. I don't need to hold any hands. And I think there's also, like, if I were to go to a place where I've never been to before, I would want to see things that they might not want to see. So I'd be an influence of the trip, good or bad. But it's not about me. So I'd just be in the way. There's been one trip where I did join, which was English artist David Schillinglaw. And we invited him to come up to Denmark, where my family has a summer house. And he stayed with us in the summer house. And it's a place where if you don't have the directions to get there, you'll get lost. If you'll stay there, you might go crazy. And I don't know if he would have come back if I wasn't there, basically. So I thought it'd be important to be there to show him around, so that he could also just see all the great spots and just get right into the good stuff, really. So but that's been the only trip where I was there as well.
How long do the trips normally run for? Is it just a long weekend, or do they go for a week?
It's about 5 to 6 days, depending on travel times and flight schedules and stuff, which I think is, that works really well for us. It's long enough to get to know a place and short enough to make you want to go back for more. Sometimes we've had a trip which is up to like 7 or 8 days, and we've had 1 or 2 trips that are like 3 or 4 days. Depends a little bit on the schedule. Some artists are so busy and it's just hard to get them for 5 to 6 days, really. And other artists, it's just more easy to work with. But I'd say typically 5 to 6 days.
And what are some of the exotic locations they've been to?
What's exotic? We've been to the capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, during the Ethiopian New Year. So that was a good, that was a little bit of a completely new setting for the artists. They were butchering and slaughtering like sheep for celebrations, and that was wild, I think, but beautiful as well, because they were like hiking up through the mountains and just having these beautiful sights over the city. meeting all the local people, getting into these really small music stores where they're basically part of like somebody's house. We've sent an artist to Seoul in South Korea, where the artist met his now girlfriend. He later emigrated to Seoul and lived there for 2 years. So that's a pretty adventurous story.
That's really can be life-changing then, right? These trips.
Yeah, unintended. Like I like you never know what's going to happen on these trips, of course. Yeah, we've been all over the place. We haven't done as much Africa as I would like. There's a lot of Asia that I still would like to cover. Yeah, but it's also more of a budget thing. Getting American artists all the way to Asia or Africa can be more expensive, and so yeah, there's a budget thing that we have to work with, of course, because we only sell 50 prints at the price point that we have, so we need to work with that, of course. Because we don't have any funding whatsoever. Like the whole project runs on the sales of the prints, so there's no governmental or other sponsor involved at all. I'd love to get an airline to sponsor the project or some hotel chain, but like I'm not looking out for it. Like the project runs as it is right now, and we're self-sufficient, so we can everything that we want to do within the project we can do and can make that happen. Often, I've worked a lot with commercial clients on different art projects, and I'm really happy now to not do that anymore, or not do this for the Jaunt project specifically, because it's so liberating to announce a trip and getting immediate feedback from people like you and me, really, like just people who enjoy art and want to support artists. And there's like, I don't need to pitch anything to anybody. I don't need to convince anything, or I don't need to make it fit into an agenda of some governmental like funding process. So this works, and I'm enjoying the way that it does.
Yeah, I really like that as well, like the freedom of that, actually.
And it's so direct as well. It's I don't need to submit any plans. I don't have to get any like okays, or it's just me talking to an artist, figuring out where we're going to go, and then book tickets and go.
Are all your artists US based? Because I thought the artists you were working with are from all around the world, and then is also open.
Yeah, no, we work with artists from all over the world, and then we have 2 production studios, like 2 print studios. We work with one studio in Utrecht in the Netherlands, where we've worked with them since the very beginning of our project, and right now, like all of our European artists, we produce in Utrecht in the Netherlands. And then we have a print studio in Chicago, where we started working with a couple of years ago, and all of the US-based artists we print in Chicago, which is basically just like a logistic thing, and postage and all that stuff, all the not so sexy stuff to talk about, but it's good.
So what do you find the most stressful about this project, if anything?
I think the most stressful part is getting the schedules aligned. Like right now, I'm working on the schedule for 2019, and I'm talking with 10 different artists about 10 different dates for the year, trying to make that all happen. And they get a new exhibition in, and they need to change their schedule, and then everything happens. I'm again very thankful that of all the 50 artists that we work with, no one has missed a flight. Like I don't know how that happens. I'm never really stressed about it, but it's always a little thing like, all right, well, hope they make it to the airport. But yeah, no one missed a flight yet, so that's a good score, and I like to keep it that way.
I'm impressed that you're actually, all 10 that you're going to have for next year.
Almost. Like I've got 8 or 9. Well, like I've got 8 or 9 that I'm talking about specific trips, and then I've got a list of like 12 to 15 artists that I would like to work with in the next year or year and a half. So, yeah.
So if people can find you online at thejaunt.net and on Instagram at thejaunt, when should they be looking out for your next launch? When will the next artist be announced and their trip?
We're going to be the next trip is going to happen in the third week of January. So we'll announce that in the first week of January, right after New Year's. Don't know the exact date yet, but it'll be it'll be a short, like a little 2-week window where we have the pre-sale order going up, and then we're going to send this artist on this trip. And
can you tell us who it is?
Not yet.
Okay, so everybody has to follow the Jaunt on Insta, and then that'll be announced. Brilliant. Thanks, Jeroen, so much for spending time with me this evening talking about your project. It's been great.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
I'll speak to you soon.